Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today's going to be a little bit of a different one, to be honest with you. I'm at the moment looking after this little guy, Bagel, my parents' dog. Used to be my dog, but yeah, now more my parents' dog. So while they're on holiday, I'm looking after him, but he's quite old, so he can't actually walk very far, which limits me in terms of photography and hiking and things like that. Oh, he's ready and raring to go. He still thinks he's a young dog, but basically, I really need to get out and do some photography. I'm really feeling a little bit cooped up, especially the last few days, staying at home, kind of catching up with chores and wedding planning bits with Bagel here. So, sorry, not getting married to Bagel. He will be at the wedding though, hopefully. But yes, we will be going out today and doing a little bit of photography. So I'm stuck in my kind of local area really, but the benefit of this time of year is, you know, I'm looking over there actually. I'll just spin it round and show you. You can see there's some beautiful bluebells coming through. So yeah, it's end of April, prime bluebell time really. It's actually a little bit early, but the bluebells have come a little bit sooner this year, so really and truly we're in kind of peak bluebell season. So I'm really hoping to get some good shots. They probably won't get them today. It's about midday, and obviously never the ideal time to really shoot photography, but my plan is to come and scope out an area for possibly tomorrow or the next few days, come kind of first thing in the morning, and ideally get some nice sort of, I mean, in an ideal world there'd be some mist and some atmosphere added to the shots. But this was a woodland. I've never photographed it before, and I've only ever been to it once, but I went on a trail run last year and went through it. And this woodland, it was just incredible. You know, it was just a sea of green, a sea of blue with the bluebells, which is exactly what you want really for bluebell photography. So I'm going to go to it. I'm going to try and find somewhere nearby to park up, and hopefully not be too much of a walk for this little guy here. Like I said, he is old, so he's showing his signs of age really. So ideally we want to keep the walking to a minimum. I have got a little chair actually that he can possibly sit in if it does come to that, if we're kind of hanging around. But today is more of the recce and the scouting mission, and then hopefully the proper photography will come in a few days time, ideally, you know, on a nice misty morning. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. Good boy. I actually never really let Bagel off the lead much anymore, unfortunately, because he's old. He's I think he's 13 now, so he's got kind of joint problems and lumps and bumps everywhere, and he tends to kind of overdo it from time to time, so I never really let him off the lead. But it's really nice to see him kind of running in the long grass, to be honest. And yeah, it's just nice to let him have a bit of freedom, I suppose. Here he comes. There's that good boy. Whee! He thinks he's a puppy again. This is what I mean. He is in danger of overdoing it if he goes too crazy like that. But yeah, don't want to spoil all his fun. I'll keep him off the lead for a little bit. Now we're in the kind of woodland bit. Hopefully it won't be as tempting to sort of run around like a maniac. So the bit that I'm standing in at the moment is looking absolutely stunning actually. It's really, actually probably better than I remember it, to be honest. It's got these amazing sort of very straight stemmed trees which are larch. So it is a larch plantation. This isn't kind of a natural woodland. But the bluebells are a really good indicator that this once upon a time probably will have been an ancient woodland, and the soil still obviously contains, you know, a lot of ancient plants and organic matter and fungi and things like that. So the bluebells are a really good clue to that. The other kind of best well-known ancient woodland indicator is wild garlic, which, you know, it's not far off wild garlic season as well, actually. I've seen a little bit of it coming through. So hopefully within the next couple of days, I'll also go to a wild garlic woodland and check that out, see how that's coming along as well. It's usually bluebells first, then wild garlic. But yeah, it's looking incredible, actually. You know, the lovely straight stems of these larch trees. I'll just show you again. You know, that's going to make for a really pleasing photograph if I can find the sort of the ideal balanced composition. It looks great even now, to be honest. Like I said, it's midday, or it's 1:45 now, so you know, it's quite harsh lighting, but you know, it is a really, really incredible thing to see a bluebell woodland just absolutely chock-a-block full of the blues and purples coming through. The one thing that I'm a little bit concerned about is the bracken. So you can probably see just down here, there's quite a bit of kind of dead bracken, so that's last year's stems, which are still, you know, really looking a bit messy. So the New Year's growth hasn't really started coming through properly yet, and it hasn't got to that point where it's kind of collapsing down all of last year's growth and suppressing that. So yeah, what we've got is a lot of kind of brown sticky bits, which if they're off in the distance and they're a bit more blurred out of focus, then I think that can look all right. But if they're sort of in among the bluebells, then yeah, for me it just starts to look a bit messy if there's too much of that. So that's something that I'm going to try and avoid. But yeah, I haven't really found exactly what I'm looking for yet. In fact, that looks really good just there. So yeah, something along these lines. You know, ideally a sea of blue is really what we're looking for. If I can get some sort of undulating hills, there is a bit of hill action happening here. I think it always just makes for a bit of a more dynamic scene, really, rather than just being straight flat. And if you're sort of at the top of a hill looking down, you get a bit more of a perspective, and you can see that bit further off into the distance if I do eventually find that kind of sea of blue. So I'm going to keep exploring. As long as Bagel doesn't mind, and then we'll see what we can get. We'll see if we can find that ideal composition. Of course, I could come back here on a nice morning and the lighting could be totally different and I see something completely different, but at least I've come back and I've seen what I was thinking about since last year, basically, and kind of refreshed it in my mind, and you know, just double check that it is a worthwhile place actually coming to. So yeah, it's definitely that. It is definitely worthwhile, but yeah, we'll just have to see whether we can find that ideal composition. So yeah, I'll get back to it. So first things first, I basically just want to blow off the cobwebs. I haven't done landscape photography for, I don't know, feels like ages, to be honest, maybe 2-3 weeks. So yeah, basically I just need to kind of get back into the rhythm of it, and this is a fairly easy, simple scene that I think is going to work quite well. Well, let's just let that plane go over. It's crazy, you don't realise in real life like how noisy these planes are, but when you're recording video you realise that they're just constantly going through and, you know, flying over. Where I live anyway, you know, we're fairly near to Heathrow Airport here in Buckinghamshire, so yeah, it's just one of those things you have to compete with when you're making these videos. So yeah, I'll just let that go through. You see Bagel getting in my shot. I might just take one with him in it, actually. Bagel. Good boy. I got one like that a few years ago, actually, with him actually in the frame, and I love it. It was printed and everything. That was in a different bluebell wood, not too far from here. But yeah, this is turning out to be definitely a woodland that was worth exploring and coming to, actually. But yeah, let me just talk you through this initial frame that I've got, and then hopefully we'll either have Bagel in the shot, or we'll get him to come out and come over here, maybe entice him over with a bit of chicken or something. So this is a fairly simple shot. It's a lovely S-curve of a path coming through the frame, which obviously is always ideal in a shot. It's nice and simple. It leads the eye through the frame, and then we've got this bluebell, fairly consistent covering throughout the frame as well. So yeah, Bagel's coming back of his own accord now. So yeah, this is where we're going to start. This isn't going to be anything award-winning, but like I say, it's just to kind of get back into the rhythm of it, get back into actually working the controls of the camera and everything like that. But the main thing that I've excluded in the photo, to be honest, I would have excluded the sky anyway, because we don't have an interesting sky. It's not nice lighting conditions or anything like that. So I've excluded most of the sky, and I've also excluded, we've got a danger and a danger, keep out and private sign on this tree here, which I don't want in the image. But I am respecting that. I am just on the boundary here and making sure that I'm not going into the frame. Or into the woodland anyway. So what have we got? We're at 35mm on the crop sensor. So this is the A6700 and the Tamron 18-300, my go-to setup. If you've watched any of my other videos, you know that I love using this setup. It's so simple, it's not too heavy, and I highly recommend it to people who want to kind of keep their gear as simple and as lightweight as possible whilst retaining kind of a full focal range. I have got on the front of this camera the polarizing filter with the step-up rings. Because these are bluebells, I actually boost the saturation a little bit in post anyway. But I just want the colours to really come through. They are looking good to the naked eye, but this is actually probably going to be the first bluebell shot that I've really done with a crop sensor camera, because I was full frame before. So sometimes the colours with crop sensor, they don't kind of look as punchy and as true to life as they do on a full frame. So yeah, this is going to be I've got the polarizer on here anyway to kind of make sure that I'm keeping it as saturated as possible. Usually what I do is I bring up the blues and the purples in terms of saturation, but then I dull down the greens actually, because it just otherwise it looks way too overly saturated. So yeah, that's probably what I'm going to do. Like I said, it's just to blow the cobwebs off. Not going to win any prizes, but let's take the shot. Right, so I've been experimenting with various different variations of this shot. Some sort of panning a bit further to the bluebells, so getting more of the foreground in the frame, and then some sort of splitting the horizon so that you get more of the trees, which I think works better. Obviously it would be ideal to get more of the bluebells in frame, but it looks a bit strange when you sort of have only kind of like the start of a stem of a tree in the background for some reason. I don't mind it, but I think probably the best way to go is to get roughly an even split between bluebells and then trees in the background. So actually, let me just take one frame where I've been shooting before. There wasn't much light in the frame, so yeah, now I can see that there's a bit of light coming through there. So I've played around with this. There's a few things which are sort of hampering me from getting a really, really nice shot. One thing I didn't really appreciate, but a lot of the trees haven't come into full leaf yet. So the beech trees being the main one, that some of them are sort of just coming into leaf. Some of them are pretty much in leaf with a lovely kind of lime green foliage coming through. But then some of the beech trees haven't even got any leaves on yet, and unfortunately there's two of them on either side of my frame which are sort of just coming down with some of their branches into the lower part of the frame, blocking some of the bluebells, and unfortunately without those leaves on, they just make it look a little bit messy in my opinion. So that's one of the things. Let me take another one there. That's one of the things that I'm struggling with. I've got a 2-second timer on at the moment, and I'm just kind of periodically taking these shots just to see if the light changes and how it looks as the kind of sun is going in behind clouds or then coming out and being a bit brighter. So yeah, the main thing that I've got in the frame, I've got a lovely silver birch tree which is in full leaf. So silver birch are one of the first trees that are going to have their complete foliage out. And yeah, this is quite a nice tree in the middle. There's a log as well which I'm focusing on, which is just slightly further into the foreground and closer to me. So focusing on that, and then I get a little bit of the bluebells in front of the log, and then the everything behind it is pretty much in focus at f11. So yeah, it's looking pretty good. Still got the polarizer on, so still getting that saturation. Yeah, this is probably going to be my last shot that I attempt here. I am thinking, to be honest with you, it's just that bit too early. The bluebells are looking great, but there's just this bracken. It just looks a bit of a mess. So I'm tempted to try and find somewhere else, another bluebell woodland, just to kind of compare and contrast it, and just see whether it's just this woodland that is affected by the bracken stems here, and maybe I might be able to find somewhere else that's kind of a little bit neater, and maybe the kind of the ground level foliage is just that bit further on. So yeah, that's probably going to be my last shot from here. I'll show you those shots that I've been playing with, just for reference, and then either see you at another woodland in some point today, where we'll see whether we can compare this one to another one, or I'll be back on a nice kind of lovely misty moody morning would be ideal. Yeah, it's been good though. It's nice to just get out, to be honest. The only trouble is Bagel was bloody... I picked him up before he's rolled in something. He absolutely stinks, so really don't want him going in the car now, to be perfectly honest. I'm hoping it's like just some horse poo or something, but it's quite nasty. Yeah. But yeah, he's getting a bit restless, so time to get back to the car, I think. I'll pack up everything and start heading back. Like a scene out of Jurassic Park. Oh, is this it? Oh, what is that? Disgusting. Leave it. Ugh, no wonder he stinks. That's what he was rolling in before. Remember, before I got to the woodland, I couldn't see where he was. Oh my god. Disgusting. And I picked him up as well. Now he's got to go in the car. Ugh. Oh, lovely. Oh, is that... There we go. Good boy. Is that nice? Good morning everyone, you join me just as the light is absolutely popping off here in a bluebell woodland. It's actually that same bluebell woodland that I was in at the start of the video. I've come back here about a week later and you wouldn't believe it, the leaves on the trees are so much further ahead now. Everything is looking so much fresher. The bluebells, there's a bit more coverage on the ground, so that's fantastic as well. But at the moment the light is just popping off. You can probably see just behind me there. yeah, the light is absolutely going crazy at the moment. So what I'm doing, I have been kind of tinkering with specific compositions for the past, I don't know, hour or something like that. But as I'm doing that, you know, I can see that other areas, the light is just looking incredible. I don't know if you can, yeah, somewhere over there. The bracken is just getting backlit, and some of the lower level of the tree canopy is getting backlit as well. So yeah, it's going to be a fair bit of a mix this morning, I think, of reactive photography, so seeing where the light's hitting and kind of changing my composition to suit that, and yeah, keeping an eye on my ideal compositions that, you know, if the light were to, you know, hit it in exactly the right way, then that's the kind of shot that I want to get. But yeah, obviously I can't resist those reactive shots as well. So yeah, got the camera set up on the tripod just behind me there. I have gone against my rule that I was talking about the other day, where not to go actually into the bluebells. There are a few little paths that, you know, I'm just looking at one down here that I've come along. So I'm trying not to go and trample any bluebells. You know, I really don't want to disturb and you know, kind of ruin anyone else's enjoyment of this woodland. So I want to kind of keep on these paths if I can. And really just make sure my impact on the woodland is kept to a minimum. So yes, I will be sort of staying in this area here, but really and truly it's usually a case of just moving the tripod, you know, a few centimeters sometimes, you know, backwards and forwards, left and right, and your composition changes so much, especially when you're shooting telephoto. I think I'm at about 100 mil on this lens here, so that's about 150 mil on a full frame camera. So yes, it's a really good setup actually, this for woodland photography. You know, really I don't have to move that much because I've got such a versatile focal range with the 18 to 300. You know, really I can just move a very short distance, and I can, you know, zoom in and out as much or as little as I need to, basically. So yeah, at the moment it's going really well. I'm very conscious of the light hitting in the background though, so yeah, I probably will, and I can see it even hitting over there as well, so I probably will try some compositions now, and yeah, join me again in a second when I've worked something out. Let's see how we do. Okay, so this is pretty incredible now. I've just moved, what is it, about 5 meters from where I was before. Really not much at all, but my composition has changed. It's just simplified everything so much, and I'm getting this fantastic light coming through on the top left-hand corner of the image. So it's looking really good. As the sun gets higher, I'm really hoping that light is going to kind of come down and reach the woodland floor. It is already reaching other parts of the woodland floor, and it's not too far off the woodland floor in my image either. So yeah, really looking good at the moment. I've tinkered with it very slightly. I'm just going to take one here so you'll hear the click. There we go. It's at a fairly slow shutter speed, so it's 0.6 of a second at the moment. F9, ISO 100. Got the polarizing filter on there. In aperture priority, so basically I'm not really paying much attention to what the shutter speed is. I'm using a 10-second timer to just make sure that the kind of the image is as stable as possible, really. I'm on this kind of mini tripod, which is actually new to me. I'm testing it out for the first real time today, but it seems really good. It's really light. It's about well, it's nearly half a kilo lighter than my other lightweight tripod that I usually use. So yeah, I'll probably do a bit more of an in-depth review on this in the near future, because I think it's a really decent bit of kit for not much money at all, really. I think I paid like £90 for it. So yeah, if anyone's interested, drop a comment below and I can let you know what it is and where I got it from and everything. But anyway, the fact that it's a small, lightweight tripod means that it's not the most stable tripod in the world, so I'm using that 10-second timer to just make sure my images are as sharp as possible. Let me take one more as we're talking and the light is moving. So before I had quite a nice bit of light coming through at the top left-hand corner of the image. That light is really fading now at the top, but you never know, it might come through at the bottom. I'm not sure, I can't really see the sun that well from where I am. It's sort of just up behind some trees at the moment, so it's hard to see if there's cloud in the sky. It looks like it might be sort of behind some sort of hazy cloud at the moment. So yeah, I'm gonna kind of continue shooting this for the time being. I think the composition is so good, the one that I've got at the moment, it's not worth kind of moving around. I can see so many other compositions that might work, but really and truly I don't want to move this camera now that I've got it kind of locked down on the tripod. So yeah, I'll invest a little bit more time in this shot and then I'll see how I get on. But yes, it's a lovely morning. It's so nice to be out. You know, you can probably hear in the background all those birds. It's just been like this all morning, just a load of bird song. There was a muntjac barking a minute ago. The cows are mooing in the fields as well. Yeah, it's really, really lovely being out. It was an early start, 4:30 alarm, but it's so worth it when you get here and you know you're in the middle of a beautiful, pristine bluebell woodland. You know, what more can you ask for, really? Yeah, it's lovely. So I've moved a couple of times since I last spoke to you. It's been about 10-15 minutes. Yeah, the light really wasn't happening in the direction that I was shooting. You know, it sort of came through the image, but then ended up, yeah, just sort of flattening out really. But then I could see the light just popping off, you know, in every other direction other than the way that I was shooting. So yeah, I've come another 5 meters from where I was before, probably not even that. But yeah, I'm following these sort of wildlife tracks, or they might even be tracks from other people coming in here and doing photography or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I don't think it is that, just for the pure reason that I'm quite off the beaten path here. This isn't really a popular woodland as far as I know. I mean, I've only ever seen one other person in here, I think, in all the times I've been in here. So yeah, it's a challenge, to be honest with you, because, you know, really you do need a bit of light coming into your frame, but, you know, really investing in one composition and just waiting for the light to come, it's not really going to work. You know, there's the off chance that you might get lucky and the light might come through, and it did start to come through. I got some nice light coming through from the top of the image, but it just wasn't bathing the sort of the ground level and the bluebells and bracken and stuff, which I'm trying to get a little bit of now. So yeah, I'm tinkering around with a few things. Usually what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to keep the bluebells, rather than being bluebells in half of the image and then trees in the other half of the image. I'm trying to keep it bluebells down as close to the sort of bottom third as I can. And then it's a case of just trying to make sure the image is balanced with all of the surrounding trees and any of the other landscape features that you've got there. So yeah, it is a little bit of a challenge. It's a fairly clutter-free woodland, I would say. There's a lot of sort of lines of sight that you can see quite far off into the distance without too many other things blocking in the way. But you do have to tinker around with it. Yeah, it's lovely. It's just so nice being here. It's so amazing seeing the light coming through and hitting different parts of the landscape, and yeah, it's just a lovely place to be. And I'm really happy that I got the opportunity to shoot bluebells this year, because I didn't think I was going to.
I'm getting married in 2 weeks' time, so yeah, I thought we were going to miss kind of the height of bluebell season, but bluebells have come out slightly sooner this year, I would say. So yeah, I've got the opportunity, which is great. So yeah, fingers crossed I get an opportunity to shoot wild garlic as well. That'd be amazing. It's always a shame because in Britain we're blessed to have these kind of wildlife spectacles and nature spectacles like bluebells, wild garlic, where the woodland's just absolutely carpeted with these plants. And really, if we miss the season for whatever reason, we've got other life commitments and things like that, then we've got to wait until the next year. So it's always nice to make the most of these opportunities when we get them. Obviously you have to balance out your life and make sure that you're not letting other people down on other things, but yeah, really and truly you've kind of got to make time for photography if you want to be in the right place at the right time, which I kind of am today, which is good. Yeah, I don't know how much longer I'll stay now. It's 7:20. I said to myself about 7:30 I'm going to leave, and the light is getting a little bit harsher now, so where it's hitting the landscape it just is getting very bright basically, so I can see off in the distance there where it's hitting like bits of old bracken on the ground. I think that's probably going to blow out. It's going to be way too bright in terms of highlights. So, and even the sky in the background, that's going to be getting brighter and brighter as the sun is getting higher and higher up in the sky. So yeah, probably won't give it too much longer, and I've definitely got 2 or 3 shots that I know I'm going to be happy with, especially when I get them into Lightroom and I give them a bit of an edit and everything as well. Even on the back of the camera they're looking fantastic. So yeah, bit of autumn effect, and then we're probably good to go. A little bit of a saturation boost in the bluebells. I usually do that, usually I don't go past plus 20, so plus 20 on the blues, plus 20 on the probably the purples I would have thought, and then probably do a minus 10 on the greens. That's kind of a good little recipe to make sure your image doesn't get too overly saturated when you're shooting bluebells. That's what I found anyway. So yeah, little tip from me there. Yeah, God, it's just fantastic. It's just so nice being here. Yes. Right, let's see if we can squeeze out one more shot. One more shot would be nice, and then we'll call it a day, and I'll sign out. So basically I'm back shooting exactly the same composition that I had, was one of my first ones, the one that I was really kind of trying to invest time in. To be honest, I don't want to cause too much impact on this woodland. I could keep kind of going along these tracks and stuff, but in all reality I'm just adding to the wear and tear of the place. So yeah, I've got some shots that I'm happy with. Even this one now, I'm back in a good position where the only thing that I'm stepping on at the moment is grass, so I'm happy with that. I'm not trampling any of the bluebells at all. So yeah, I just don't want to ruin it for everyone else. Basically, I don't think that's very fair. So I've got some shots that I'm happy with. I'm back to shooting this. The light has changed a bit, and actually, as I keep talking, I mean, it's so dynamic at the moment, it's just changing. Actually, let's just take this shot. Is that going? There we go. So yeah, the light's so dynamic, it's changing constantly. But essentially what I'm doing, I'm just trying to get a nice even spread of the trees going across the frame, making sure that there's a decent sort of little gap in between most of the trees, so there's not sort of too many trees bunched on in one area and then, a big wider space in another area. Generally, that's what I try and do with woodland photography, is just to make sure it's balanced and make sure the trees have got a good bit of separation between them. And you can't go far wrong with that, to be honest. The other thing is I'm focusing about a third of the way into the image. So yeah, it's sort of, well, there's a silver birch tree sort of to the left of the frame. That's what I'm focusing on at the moment. And yeah, I'm just taking these shots. If I probably just crouch to there, that'll probably just take, hopefully. There we go. Yeah, it's been an incredible morning. I'm very, very happy that I came out this morning, and it's so nice to, I know it was an early start, but it's only 7:30, so it's so nice I can be home for 8 and have breakfast and everything, and then get on with the day, So yeah, it's fantastic. And haven't seen a single soul this morning, which is another good thing. I keep thinking, there's going to be dog walkers coming through any moment now, but yeah, nothing so far. Yeah. Anyway, it's been a really, really good experience. I hope you've gained something from this. Hopefully there was some good tips for shooting bluebell photography in April, May. It's an amazing time in the southeast of England. We don't have the most amazing landscapes here, but we do have these fantastic spring spectacles, basically, with the bluebells, with the wild garlic, which hopefully I'll get a chance to shoot in the next week or so. That'd be great. And like I said, getting married in 2 weeks, so if it's not next week, then it definitely won't be the week after. So yeah, hopefully I get a chance to shoot that. So yeah, if you've enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the channel, give it a like if you can, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, bye.